when her curt tone signaled agitation. He rolled up his window. She inhaled with a quick, sharp gasp. The man next door was looking straight at the Studebaker. Did he recognize them? Probably not. After a long moment, he turned back to his gleaming vehicle, obliterating soap suds from the fender with quick blasts of the hose. Frank pulled over to the curb, halfway between the neighbor's house and number 117. Across the street, a young woman in a yellow blouse, pedal pushers, and a headdress of pink curlers wielded an oversized pair of clippers as she pruned the bushes lining her front walk. Frank and Ida sat in the Studebaker, the windows rolled up, looking at the small blue house. Sweat trickled down their backs as the heat inside the car intensified. Ida picked up the camera and pointed it at number 117. The click of the shutter echoed within the quiet, motionless vehicle. Within Ida's mind, it felt like the slam of a hollow door. "Let's go and come back down the street from the other side." Frank pulled the Studebaker away from the curb, and slowly they wound down the road. After 100 yards, he made a U-turn and guided the car back up the lane until they were almost in front of number 117 again, this time on the other side of the street. He halted, leaving the motor running. The woman in curlers had progressed to the side of her house, where she continued to steadily snip offending branches. Straightening up, she stared at the car again, clippers dangling from her right hand. "You take it now," Ida said, handing Frank the camera. Through his closed window, Frank pointed the camera across the street at number 117 and snapped. "Oh no, she's watching us. We need to move. Drive down so she can't see us." Nodding, Frank pulled forward a few yards until the woman was out of sight behind the corner of her house. He stopped in front of a newly planted seedling with a spindly trunk and thin, delicate branches. Twisting around in her seat, Ida stared back at the blue ranch house for a long minute, her jaw clenched. One hand still clutched the now-forgotten scrap of paper with the address. "I wish she hadn't seen us." Ida's voice broke between shallow breaths. "It'll be okay, sweetie," Frank whispered, stroking her hair. "It's all right." He placed the camera in Ida's purse and wrapped his arms around her. Tears streamed down her face, and she began rocking back and forth, her shoulders heaving, the scrap of paper fluttering to the car floor. Outside the vehicle, Ida's moans dissipated in the swelling afternoon breeze. The seedling trees' slender limbs quivered as the wind gained force, their bobbing shadows writhing in an unearthly waltz on the sidewalk. Ida's cries gradually subsided. She sat up straight and very still. Finally, she began wiping her wet eyes and cheeks with Frank's handkerchief, while he gently caressed her shoulder. "Okay, let's go," Ida murmured finally in a dull, low tone. Inside her camera, the rays of light that had beamed through the open shutter during those fractions of a second had done their work, searing hazy images into the undeveloped film. The telltale prints, unseen for the next 50 years, mutely attested to Ida and Frank's path that September day. Chapter 1. Ghosts in a Box. August 2002. "Come on, Dad," I said. "Let me just look in the box. The pictures might have clues." "No." "Why not?" I asked. "I don't want to get it out. It's depressing." My father, Harley, couldn't face the box containing his parents' photo collection, even though its contents might help solve our baffling family mystery. For decades, a rotating cast of family members had tried, and failed, to trace the family trees of his Brooklyn-born parents, Frank Elmer Hanson and Ida Agnes Howe Hanson. Now, a previously unknown trove of photos had the potential to breathe new life into the family project, as my dad had dubbed our investigation into his parents' identities. If only I could get my hands on those pictures. How frustrating it was that my dad refused to let me look at them, especially since he was the one who, years earlier, had gotten me involved in the family project. Despite his belief in seeking truth and confronting facts, my father, a retired scientist and behavioral psychologist,